is money here anymore.
Alright, third time's the charm. Welcome everybody to the inaugural episode of Life in the World to Come. My name is Chris Dunne.
I'm Will Wood.
Yeah, no, we're leaving that in. They get to know that this is our third attempt, and we're also going to leave in those jingly keys. This is what those last two attempts were needing. It needs to be, this is real, this is raw. We're going to add, I'm going to slurp some coffee right now, and it's going to be on mic.
Okay, yeah, let's just get into it. So, welcome to the first episode of The World to Come. We are your hosts and prophets, and we are here to help give you a glimpse into the inevitable apocalypse and help prepare you for what is in the world to come.
Yeah, because the event is coming.
It is coming.
It's going to come.
There's no two ways around it.
It's going to happen.
There's no two ways about it.
Look at the world around you.
It's a terrible place.
It's a horrible place. It doesn't make any sense.
The world is a vampire.
I love that.
That's
great. The world is a vampire.
The world is a vampire.
And it's sucking us dry.
That's.
But that's the nice thing about vampires is that eventually you will run out of blood. There will be nothing left to suck.
That's true.
And then, that's when the transformation occurs.
Exactly.
Into something terrifying but beautiful.
A wise man once said, "Only when you've lost everything are you free to become nothing." I mean, anything. Yeah. Are you free to? Only once you've lost everything are you free to become anything. It was.
I'm sure.
It was Fight Club.
It's incredibly. So yeah, that's what this podcast is. Is that we're going to answer your questions about how to survive in the post-apocalypse. And we're going to hopefully give you the tools that you need to survive after the inevitable event. Did you say what your name was?
Did I?
I don't know. My name's Chris Dunne. I'm pretty sure I said that. He's Will Wood.
Fuck.
We're experts.
Yep.
We are the only authority that you can trust.
We're not giving that impression so far.
Well, but we are, is the thing. Is that they can think whatever they want. Is that, like, look, you don't have to follow our advice. But if you don't, that's
you'll
on
die.
you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was going to say it, but yeah.
You'll die.
You'll die.
Look, it's better safe than sorry. What are you gonna do? You're gonna listen to us, because who else is saying anything at all? Roll the dice.
Our first question. Our first question comes from Lauren D. And Lauren D asks, "If I don't have a bunker, how can I make sure my above ground home is fortified?"
Lauren, how you doing? This is a great question. Super important thing to keep in mind. Now, before I get into this, hey, don't get down on yourself for not having a bunker. A bunker keeps you soft. When the world is ravaged by dust storms and blood tornadoes and waves of fear.
Omega waves, sand.
Yep.
Sand.
And sand. There's going to be a lot of sand.
There's going to be a lot of sand.
If you don't expose yourself to the sand, your skin will never become coarse and calloused.
Exactly.
Point being, you got to go through the fire in order to become the diamond.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, is that the people down in those bunkers, they're going to be weak.
Right.
They're not going to be ready for what is waiting for them once they emerge.
Exactly.
But you are.
So, Lauren, you're in a way, you've got a head start here.
You've got a head start. And that's the thing, it comes down to what you value more. Do you value the gumption that you will gain from watching the apocalypse happen in front of your very eyes? Or do you value the not having blood poisoning that you gain from being in a bunker? It's up to you. It's about your priorities.
Right. So you're gonna... So I think... There's a lot to be said about a house that can't be said about a bunker. Because guess what? Being under the ground is not better than being above it. As a matter of fact, you know what lives under the ground? Mole people.
Mole people.
And gigantic three-headed earthworms. What'd you say?
Gigaworms.
Gigaworms.
Is what you're thinking of.
Yeah. Gigaworms.
They're gigantic and they have 3 heads.
Yep. And, those will get you under the ground if your bunker's not fortified enough. Whereas above ground... Dig boys.
Dig boys.
You're gonna want to watch out for
For dig boys? What are you laughing at?
I'm coughing.
This is extremely
I'm not
serious.
feeling well.
You know, dig boys.
So you know,
Children of the drill. You know. Look, there's a whole host of monsters and death cults that exists underneath the ground that you're gonna have to worry about.
So above ground is in a lot of ways safer too. That being said, you are gonna want to get yourself down to the closest Home Depot, hardware store, or cemetery to pick up whatever you can to, you know.
I'm sorry,
fortify
cemetery?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. I live next to a cemetery, and so that's the first thing that comes to my mind. You know, you're gonna want to try and yank the headstones out of the ground, and you know just plop them into the dirt around your house to kind of like set what's the word for a border, a barrier,
A barricade.
Yeah, a barricade. That's a great way to a barricade. Like like French Revolution style. You're gonna want to do whatever you can to pile stuff up as high as possible.
Right. You know, and we say graveyard. We don't specifically. The point is to take what you have.
Yes.
Go for what's near you.
Yes.
You know, it's all about utilitarianism. It's all about you know. You got to be MacGyver.
Right, because I live next door to a graveyard, but you might not, and I don't live next door to a Home Depot, and you might. So,
and then so the thing is, taking all those headstones out of the graveyard, putting them around your house, that actually serves a dual purpose because generally speaking, after the event, graveyards are going to be a meeting place for like death cults, street toughs. Just like
teenagers,
just normal teenagers, but now they've got like swords.
The teenagers,
just all kinds of unsavory elements are going to congregate at graveyards. So you got to get rid of those gravestones so they don't know to congregate there.
Right.
There will still be flesh-eating irradiated zombies.
Of course, naturally, because they'll be coming out of the ground at the graveyard.
Yeah, but they're going to be coming out of the ground everywhere.
And they might. That's another thing is that they won't have any way of knowing where the surface is if you take away the gravestones.
Right.
So they might just keep digging down.
Yeah,
forever.
they can. Yeah, they're very. And look, they're not smart. Their brains are rotted.
Exactly, they've decayed.
Brought back to life through dark science and the follies of man.
Right. So if you're follies of man, that's I like that phrase.
That's the alternate name for the podcast.
Follies of Man. I like that. It also sounds like a 1930s dancing girls troupe.
Yeah.
So where were we? I'm sorry, I interrupted because
right. So the gravestones in a barricade around your house.
Yes, you're gonna want a barricade. And you're going to want to keep those windows covered, my friend, because windows are bad news.
Nobody wants windows. Yeah.
Nobody wants windows. That's one thing that a bunker has, that a bunker...
has over an above ground house.
Right. That is a lack of windows. I know you're going to want to be able to see outside. I know you're going to miss the sun.
Yeah, but the sun can kill you now.
Right. Not only could the sun kill you, but the sun may only be coming out in short bursts just to kill you in these
exactly.
years to come. So
there's the atmosphere is gone. The only thing protecting you from the deadly ultraviolet rays of the sun is going to be the thick cloud of radioactive ash that covers the sky at all hours. And every now and then there's going to be a hole in that miasma, and you're going to want to go towards that hole because you haven't seen the light in so long. But as soon as you do, just all of your skin just burned off.
Yeah, the world to come will be a dank place.
A brutal and terrible and horrifying place. But again, inarguably better than the world we currently live in.
Yes, absolutely.
By a long shot.
Just because you don't have windows doesn't mean you can't enjoy your life, A circadian rhythm is overrated anyway. It's only useful in this day and age. In the future, in the world to come, a circadian rhythm's not important. You don't get enough vitamin D, doesn't matter. All right,
exactly. Well, you're going to be you're not going to be wanting to get a full 12 hours of sleep anyway. You're going to be you should be taking 20-minute naps throughout the day to maximize the amount of time you're awake and thus the amount of time that nobody can stab you in the back and steal your goods.
That's the Pomodoro method. You're sleeping in very short bursts throughout the day and never actually having a night's sleep. The Pomodoro method. Dr. Richard Pomodoro.
It's not just for assholes anymore.
It's not. And it's it's good for you. And so having windows is going to interfere with your ability to sleep in the most effective and strategic way. So board up those windows, because glass is sharp, man. You don't even know. You ever get cut by glass? If you have, you know glass is sharp. And you know what there's going to be a lot of in the world to come? Explosions. And so
and also just like glass,
right?
It's like a lot of glass all over the place,
right? And the
just
last
broken glass,
right? And the last thing you want is more glass.
You don't need more glass. There's enough glass,
right? So you're gonna want to throw out all of your glasses, all your drinking glasses, all your flatware, your plates, your platters, anything that's glass in your house. You're gonna want to, just take out into the barricade and smash into it, just so it serves solely as a defense thing.
Right.
Against the teenagers.
Again, the zombies, they're not going to be able to feel their feet. But that's what the other fortifications are for. That's why you board up your doors and whatnot.
Mostly because of the teenagers.
Right.
And death cults.
And the death cults.
But
again, the death cults, they're less concerned about pain.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing you're really gonna need to be worried about in terms of
like the death cults are probably already gonna have glass sticking out of them on purpose, like they put it there.
Right. So you gotta be ready to fortify against the death cults. There is one thing that you have to keep in mind though. Don't go too crazy trying to defend yourself from vampires, because vampires are gonna get in if they want to get in. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You have to figure out other ways.
And because that's the thing, you would think vampires aren't supposed to be able to come into your house, unless you're invited in. But
right.
it's not your house anymore.
Right, exactly.
It's a dwelling. It's
also,
a shell. So the rules are different.
Also, that's a myth.
It's a myth. Yeah,
that's not
true.
It's not real. All right, I don't know where you get the idea.
I forgot we were talking about real vampires. I'm sorry.
No, but this is a vampire is going to go where it wants to go. And so physical defenses aren't going to keep you safe from vampires. You need spiritual defenses in a situation like that. You're going to need either cloves of garlic, or maybe you can go to the nearest supermarket, get yourself a jar of like puttanesca sauce. There's a lot of garlic in that. Or the blood of a priest.
Or the blood of a priest specifically.
Right. If you can get that stuff and smear it on your on the threshold of your front door, like the Book of Exodus, like Passover, you're gonna want to. Well, that's the story of Passover. I don't know if you're familiar, but
is when the vampires came to get the Jews.
Close. It's when the angel of death came down upon Egypt and killed the firstborn child of every Egyptian.
Right. Okay.
Brutal slaughter. Really, just brutal stuff. But Moses is the good guy. But obviously, no. That I feel bad for saying. You know what? No. All right. No. You know what? I don't take it back.
This is not that kind of podcast.
Bend to the will of the cultural.
This is an alt-right podcast.
This is a podcast.
This isn't an alt-right podcast.
In the world to come.
This is the one thing I will go back on, is that this is not an alt-right podcast. I don't want anybody getting that impression.
The world to come will not be run by the Jews. That's what I'm saying.
Will is Jewish.
Yep, I just
Will is Jewish.
Well, this has gotten out of hand.
I want to circle back for a second. Is that we're putting all this effort into trying to keep the vampires out. I would like to make the argument that maybe that's not what you want to do.
Oh.
I think maybe you want to let those vampires in. I think maybe you want to get bit. I think you want the advantages that being a vampire gives you. Because again, this is the apocalypse. You're not going to have to worry about like the stigma of being a vampire.
That's true.
The vampires are going to thrive.
They really are, and it's
because of the aforementioned dust cloud, the nuclear dust cloud.
Right.
There's not going to be. I mean, they're going to have to worry about the sunlight as much as anybody else, but as much as anybody else.
The only difficult thing that may befall you in a vampire situation is how are you going to have real and intimate interpersonal relationships when you're desperate to drink their blood? And that actually, I think, brings us to another really important question.
Does bring us to another question.
That was sent to us by a listener in, I want to say, Wyoming?
Doesn't say where they're from, but Kevin G. Possibly in Wyoming.
Okay.
Could be anywhere else.
Okay.
Let's say he's from Wyoming. Kevin G. from Wyoming says, and I think this is kind of beautiful, how do you find love in the wasteland? I actually have what I think is a pretty definitive answer to this, but if you want to go first.
No, I'd love to hear what you have to say about that.
Right. Okay, well, there is no love in the wasteland. Only pleasure. Okay? and here's the thing. In the depths of that pleasure, in the depths of that carnal desire, you may find something that reminds you of love, but you must never mistake it for that. Okay?
Wow.
Because, because you're gonna the only person that you can trust in the wasteland is yourself, all right? And me, and Will. Just those three people. You allow yourself to trust. You're gonna wake up chained to a radiator, missing a kidney. They took it so that they could sell it to the war boys. And you can't even get mad because you were gonna do the same damn thing. All right?
I've never felt so alone.
Look, it's just look, I'm not trying to comfort you. That's not the point of this podcast. Jesus. The point of this podcast is
how
to
right you are. Man. I don't like that. I mean, I already feel
the point
that
of this podcast is to make sure you're ready. That's what we're gonna do.
So, no point in sugarcoating or anything like that. All right. So give it to him straight, Chris. Lay down the law.
I've said everything I think I need to say about it. Do you feel differently?
I don't want to sit here and participate in that kind of cynicism.
All right.
Man.
Okay. Well, let's pretend we're living in a fantasy apocalypse.
Okay.
in a fucking sunshine and rainbows fairy tale end of the world.
Who hurt you, man? I'm just saying.
I'm just being a pragmatist. Okay.
All right. So
I believe in love now. I think that love is one of the things that we're gonna have to sacrifice if we come into in the fucking world to come.
I mean, what about familial love?
Familial love. I mean, well, sure, I guess.
It's gonna. I'll give it to you there. It's gonna be hard to feel much love for your brutally mutant offspring.
Right.
Whatever springs from your loins in the post-apocalyptic realm is
you're
gonna have an ugly baby.
Your babies they're gonna be very strong and they're gonna have many arms.
They're gonna have your terrible sons.
Many terrible sons with many powerful arms that they use to.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Love is gonna be hard.
It's gonna be difficult,
but I don't think it needs to disappear. You just need to be ready for it to take on an unfamiliar shape.
I'm okay.
Love, people aren't going to be the same. A lot of us, 4 arms and very strong. Right. Many of us are going to have, radioactive blood or, skin made of stone.
Some of us might have 8 arms and be very, very strong.
Right, you never know. And so, people won't be the same shape, so why would our hearts? And so, love is going to be something different. You just need to be open to the idea of love not looking like it does in our current culture's standards of it. It might not look like, a man and a woman in a nuclear family. It might not even look like, 6 human beings in an equal and egalitarian polyamorous relationship. It could look like you and the corpse of your mother in your attic for 20 years. Love is love. And so, you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready to let the right one in. You gotta stay open. And
I think you've won me over here.
I know. I see where you're coming from too, though. In the sense that I guess it comes down to kind of semantic distinctions. Whereas, you can say it's not love, or you can say that love is different now. What we call love might not be there anymore, but there's going to be something that we can instead call love. And so if love changes shape, and
maybe you can work in stealing your partner's kidney while they sleep and selling it to the war boys into your framework of what love is.
Right.
I mean, you know, you don't necessarily have to do that, but like if you're always ready for that to happen at all times, then and you never forget that. You never ever forget that they will betray you. They're waiting to betray you, and the second that you let your guard down, you will. If you just keep that in mind, then yeah, you can have an intimate relationship with somebody.
Yeah. So so all that being said, going back to what you're saying about pleasure and carnal desire, I mean, let's face it, that's going to be important. You're going to want to blow off some steam,
yeah,
because there's going to be steam everywhere.
You know,
the world is going to be a very steamy place. If you think there's a lot of steam these days, wait until the post-apocalyptic realm where things are going to start running on steam again. So you're going to want to blow off some steam. You're going to want to, open up the vents. You're going to want to let out some fucking aggression.
You're going to want to come.
Exactly. You're really going to want to just come. And so
I hate this podcast.
So what you're gonna here's what you're gonna want to do. You're gonna want to abandon your morals is really what you're gonna want to do, and you're gonna want to start, maybe holding people ransom in exchange for, you know what? No, I don't like this. I'm just getting I mean,
we're leaving this in, but I don't like where this is going.
I don't like it either. I was just thinking fucking pirates and human markets, and that's just too dark. But I do think that is something that would happen if the world fell apart. I mean, it's something that happens in some places already. I mean, Christ.
Yeah, I mean, it's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, I don't feel good about this. So speed dating in the future. You're gonna want to try.
It's gonna be a lot like speed dating now. Is that there's gonna be a person who you're gonna pay a person who facilitates it,
right?
And they're gonna give you a bunch of options that you have. Oh God!
Can we not publish this?
Yeah, no. I want to reiterate that this is not an alt-right podcast.
Oh no, it feels so bad.
This is all staying in.
I'm deeply ashamed.
This is going on the internet.
Listen, I'm just saying. This is going to be a violent and brutal world. It already is.
That's our point. That's the point.
The laws go out the window, and there's no government, or at least not something that resembles the government that we're used to now. There's no police. There's nobody there to enforce any moral standards. There's going to be some really messed up people out there doing a lot of messed up things in order to accomplish their animal needs.
Right, and I think that, and if we can actually circle back to a positive place here, what we're trying to say is that where do you find love in the wasteland? Wherever you can. Wherever you can find it. In whatever form it takes. If it is just like a sexual thing, that's okay. If it's something more than that, be fucking careful. Be fucking careful and never let your guard down. But that's fine too. It's fine too. You're a fool, but it's fine.
Right. So we could probably expect love to look like a very different thing. And man, I don't trust anybody.
Our next question.
Don't.
Our next question.
I'm too high for this.
What was the next question?
I'm kidding. That was a joke.
I know.
Everything. I regret everything. Okay.
Well, actually, speaking of getting high.
Yes.
Is this next question comes from Amir C. I just started taking Lexapro, and so far it's going really well. That said, I'm worried about my prescription running out once society collapses. How can I make sure I have a steady supply? Well, there's a couple ways that you could go about this. I think the most obvious answer is, you do a little bit of prep work beforehand. Just Google where they make Lexapro and drive there once the world ends, and then you have a lot of Lexapro. The problem with that is you're probably not going to be the only person who had that idea.
Yep.
So you're also gonna, you're gonna want to bring your bullets. You're gonna want to bring your gun that you made out of PVC pipes and 2x4s.
Yep.
A suit of armor that you've made out of trash cans.
Yep. And you're gonna want to probably bring a handful of glass.
broken glass.
Yes.
Which we've already covered there's gonna be a lot of it, and there's gonna be a lot of different things you can do with it.
You'll probably be able to just reach down in any place at all and just pick up
a lot of broken glass. But see, I think that is the one thing that we're coming around to here, is that it doesn't, pre or post apocalypse, your access to quality healthcare is going to be dependent on the resources that you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rich, if you have if you have a lot of money now, then yeah, you're gonna get the healthcare you need.
You'll be fine.
If you have a lot of purified water and bullets, then yeah, you're gonna be able to get what you need.
Right.
So that's it. Maybe stock up on purified water and bullets that you can then trade for Lexapro.
Or stock up on Lexapro, and you can become the future's pharmacist.
Yeah.
The jobs are gonna be open. Everywhere is gonna be hiring, so to speak. There'll be a new market for almost any business. So if you're the first person down to the Lexapro factory to start picking up Lexapro, guess what, man? You've got all the Lexapro. That means you get all of the water and bullets.
Yeah.
So
Lexapro equals water and bullets.
Right, or it might not. But the good news is, if you got water and bullets, you can trade it with the Lexapro man. There's a lot of different ways this could pan out. But that being said, there's only so much Lexapro in the world, and if you think AstraZeneca's gonna keep making pills once the vampires have blocked out the sun, and locusts with 9 legs and 15 eyes that are 12 feet tall and
they
can
have
speak
4 arms
Spanish,
and they're very strong,
and have 4 arms and they're very strong. Once they have eaten most people, you're gonna maybe have some trouble finding Lexapro. So there's a good chance that antidepressants will eventually fade out from this world. In which case,
you're gonna want to find alternatives. You're gonna want to find other ways to deal with your depression. And this is we both suffer from our. This is not a mentally healthy podcast.
No,
we're both broken boys.
Broken boys.
I used to take Lexapro and it was fine. So I know what you're going through, and I think it is worth finding other ways to combat your depression. I think one possible solution is blood horniness.
What?
Like blood horniness.
What do you?
It's like bloodlust, but it's not. Look, with bloodlust, you kill someone and you're like, this is great, I gotta kill some more people. Like blood horniness, you kill someone and you're like, I gotta fuck.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
okay. So you need.
But my point is, it's like a hobby. Like you gotta find something. What is my point here? It's like you gotta. You know what I'm trying to say? You figure out how to hack your brain to get those endorphins going.
I was gonna say.
Is my point.
I was.
That didn't. I kind of had to come around to that one, but
I can. All right, you need a hobby, is what you're saying.
The point is, you need to figure out what makes you happy.
What hijacks your internal neurological reward system.
Exactly.
Right.
Like blood horniness.
Right, blood horniness, or
getting horny for blood.
Right, or
I'll tell you, if you're feeling horny for blood, you're not feeling depressed.
Yeah. And in the world to come, there's not going to be any shaming on what gets you off. No kink shaming in the world to come. No. Because let's face it, it's the world. In the future, people aren't going to have too many hang-ups anymore. You'll be too busy running from vampires, zombies, and
different
teenagers.
hang-ups, yeah.
Right. And so, blood horniness, no reason to feel ashamed of that. If you're blood horny and you need to slather yourself in blood and, stand naked in the wind and...
Yeah, in order to get that sweet, sweet serotonin you need.
Then go for it.
Yeah.
Anything you can. It's one of those things where, anything that can get the blood pumping, that's what you need.
Yeah, really, it's about self-love. It's about self-care. You're taking care of yourself. This is for you.
Right.
And that's going to be the nice thing about the end of the world, is that you're going to have a lot of time to focus on what makes you happy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to have there's going to be a lot, because of the lack of cultural norm that's going to be left. Once the slate is clean, there is there's not so much in the way of social precedents set in ways that are acceptable or unacceptable to behave. So the world's really your oyster in the world to come. There is nothing wrong with anything. The rules are no longer apply. You can't. There's no God to anger. There's no police to anger. There's no parents to anger. Nobody's going to be angry. Well, people are going to be angry at you. But point being, it's a survival world. It's a brutal world. And so whatever gets you going, whatever floats your boat, even if what you have to do is strangle cats all day, then you go ahead and strangle cats, and there's no judgment coming from me.
Yeah.
Strangle a cat now and again,
So I think to summarize this...
I strangle a cat now and again.
What?
What were you saying? Summarize? Summarize.
I think to summarize this is what we're saying is, you either, A, go to the Lexapro factory, or B, kill somebody, see how it makes you feel.
Exactly. And
see if it helps.
Right. And, that's all, just, that's without getting into, how many recreational drugs will be available.
Oh, my God.
Forget about it, because everybody's going to be looking to get fucked up on something. And you know what? Until the world to come, until the apocalypse, there's been a lot of, it's been socially frowned upon to load a syringe up with bleach pneumonia and shoot yourself in the eye with it. But in the world to come, you could just do that. You could do it in front of your kids.
Can we get real for a second?
Yeah.
Can we get real? For, like actually real? Like, for just not, the thing for the podcast? Like, there's a medical marijuana dispensary near my house. And, I have so many fantasies about, the world ending and me just, taking a big rock and smashing the door and just, walking out with, several pounds of marijuana. Well, anyway, that's just...
Marijuana...
But the point is you're going to be able to do that.
And since, never mind. You're gonna need to,
marijuana is not going to be enough.
It's not.
It's not going to be...
It's going to want more than that. And it's not going to...
Marijuana isn't a real drug. You're going to need you're going to need ammonia injected into your veins.
Right. And you're going to need to... you're going to need to figure out your own as well. I would say that it would be a really good idea to, see what you could cook up in your basement. Get ready. Start it now. There's a lot
Start now.
You can just Google stuff right now. I swear to God, you go down to CVS, get yourself a little bottle of Robitussin, and see what you can cook up with it. Because you're gonna want. If you can make drugs, you're gonna be a king in the world to come. Because everybody's gonna want the drugs.
You're gonna want to make drugs, and you're gonna want to make bombs, and you're gonna want to start now.
Right. That being said,
and I think that's the message of this podcast ultimately, is that you should start making drugs and bombs now.
I don't want to go on record having said any of that, but
this was your idea. I'm just parroting what you said.
It wasn't my. The drugs were my idea. I don't want the FBI kicking in my door.
You want our listeners to start making bombs.
Listen, kids. Here's what you're going to want to need. You're going to get 3 parts ammonia, 2 parts of bleach. You're going to want 5 parts of glycerin. You're going to mix that up in your tub and leave it to settle for a couple of hours. And you're going to want to take a blowtorch, and you're going to want to just, kind of crisp the surface of it like a creme brulee. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut it into squares.
Is this real?
Squares.
Is this actually how you make a bomb?
You're going to take those squares. You're going to put them in the oven. You're going to set it to 700 degrees. If your oven can't get that hot, get a new oven. Go to the fucking oven store, get a 700 degree oven.
Right now
700 degrees.
I started this joke, but now we're actually telling people how to make bombs.
You cook this.
Our next question
for 700 degrees for 2 hours. And then when it comes out, what you're gonna want to do? You're gonna want to mix it. You're gonna want to coat it in baking powder. You're gonna want to wrap that up in. You're gonna want to wrap that up in wax paper, and you're gonna. Oh, I'm sorry.
Welcome to the podcast.
Woo!
First episode.
Okay. Fuck.
Our next question. Fuck. Which ones do we still need?
Oh, I don't know. I was barely halfway through that recipe.
They get the picture. They can look up the rest.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's not my own homemade recipe or anything. I'll post it. Contact us at the world.
Yeah, email Will.
@gmail.com
and ask how to make a bomb.
Right.
And we'll send you a... Please don't.
do that.
We're like the first people who ever listen to this podcast are just going to be like antisocial loners.
The first people going to listen to this podcast are going to be the fucking NSA.
Yeah.
You're going to fucking kick in my door.
Man, I hope.
They're going to murder me.
I hope we're that big a deal that quickly.
In the world to come, that's a great thing. In the world to come, there will be no government, and so you'll be able to say whatever you want.
Yeah, you can tell as many people to make as many bombs as you please.
Right, but you're not going to want to because you're going to want to keep all the bombs to yourself.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's precious knowledge that you need to be the bomb man.
So it's probably for the best that I didn't give the rest of my recipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway,
our next question.
Yes.
Our next question comes from Ethan B. This is finally Ethan B's question.
Ethan B.
Throughout my life, I have spent a lot of time and money on Yu-Gi-Oh cards and memorabilia. Will they be worth anything after the fall?
You want to take this, Chris?
Well, here's the bright side. Is that money that you spent on those Yu-Gi-Oh cards, that's not going to be worth anything either, okay? Mm. It's immediately going to be worthless. It's just paper. So are the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But at least they've got, like, cool pictures on them. Pictures that, I mean, there's all kinds of, like, religious iconography on those things.
That's true.
Various fiends and devils.
Yep. And look, you know, if you've just got, like, a handful of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you know, it might be worth just tossing them so you're not carrying around the extra weight when you're backpacking through the wilderness and, you know, dodging giant mosquitoes and, you know, running from, you know, six-headed lions that have made their way from Africa to the United States, or what is now the United States. That will happen.
Because they're very fast now.
They're very fast and they are very strong.
They're very strong. They're very fast and they have forearms.
And they have forearms. They're very strong, very fast, and they can swim and they can fly. They might fly. I don't know. I didn't say they have wings, but they could have wings. If they got four heads, forearms, and are very strong, they might have wings too. So there, you might be running from lions. You're not going to want to carry around a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's a waste of space. You could fit like 12 large bullets in the space where you've got a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Whereas if you've got like binders full of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you're going to want to hold onto that. You are going to want to be the Seto Kaiba of the wasteland. You're going to, because when it comes down to it, in the world to come, it is going to always be time to duel. And so, it's you're gonna want to get any leg up you can on anyone.
When God has forsaken you, the only thing left to believe in is the heart of the cards.
Right, exactly. And you never know when it's gonna come down to, you need to draw the right arm of the Forbidden One and obliterate obviate the enemy. It's very important that you take whatever leg up you can. This is an opportunistic world, like we were saying about, blood horniness and shooting ammonia into your veins. Like we were saying about, finding love in your mother's corpse in the attic for 20 years. Whatever it is, you've got to take what you can get. If you've got a binder full of Yu-Gi-Oh cards and that's potentially any advantage to you, you better hold on to those things because they could have all kinds of value depending on how you use them.
Exactly. And I cannot stress this enough. Your money will have no value. Mm. So that's the thing. I mean, that's the point I want to make, is that really, up until the event happens, you can spend as much money as you want on whatever you want because it's all worthless anyway.
Right.
You can, and that I think is what is so freeing about this new world, and I think it's something practical that you can like take into your life that you're living now.
Spend all of your money. Don't save a cent
on Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
You spend it on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Spend it on whatever. Just spend it because it's going to be worthless. Right now, it's just numbers in a database.
Yeah, I mean, you're still going to be able to listen to this podcast once the event happens. Once it's all over.
But the money in your Bank of America account is not. It's going to be worthless.
So
withdraw all that.
I want to say this is always going to be a free podcast. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, we might make a Patreon or something eventually, but like you're always going to be able to listen to it for free.
Cool.
There is a tacit agreement that if you listen to it after the fall, you will become our war boys.
Yes.
But free podcast.
Yeah. Can we talk about the War Boys for a second?
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking a lot about the War Boys recently. Because I think about the War Boys and I can't help but think about how you're never going to be able to see their faces. When you inevitably encounter the War Boys, you're gonna want to be able to tell people who you saw. Describe the people to you. So look out for this guy, he's a war boy, and you didn't know it. But you're never able to see their faces because they're going to be covered up by the shroud of pain.
Yes.
And the shroud of pain, as you know, is going to be made of chainmail of human bone.
Yes.
And if you never see their faces because of the shroud of pain, you're not going to be able to follow up in any interaction you have with War Boy. So what do you think one can or should? How does one respond to running into a close encounter with a one-on-one close encounter with a war boy? If you even survive, I mean, what do you do?
Well, again, it depends on your situation. It depends on who you are. For instance, are you 7 feet tall and have like a big, clear like fake abs that you can wear to like make people think that you're not actually very fat?
Well,
then, and if that's the case, then yeah, the war boys will follow you. They respect your power,
right?
And they will, you will lead them into Valhalla,
right?
If you're small and weak, then you run,
right?
Because they will chain you to their cars and they will use your blood.
As
you saw Mad Max, you get what I'm getting to.
I didn't actually.
Right. Well, I've been making Mad Max references for the whole War Boys thing. So
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
We have an well, look.
Was a War Boys like a thing in Mad Max?
Yeah, that's
I
like
you
like the guys with like skull faces.
Word.
No,
really?
like, it is very silly, but that's also why I said it.
Oh, that's
like,
why I was like heavily yes-anding you.
It was like,
oh, I know War Boys. Of course, inevitably they're going to be War Boys. I was ready to just talk War Boys.
Well, I mean, look, like War Boys are going to come in a lot of different shapes and sizes.
Okay.
You're going to have your classic Mad Max War Boys. You're going to have your Bone Veil War Boys.
Okay.
You're going to have War Boys that have 4 arms and are very strong. You're gonna like.
I want a cake. That's what I really want right now. Is I want a cake, an entire cake. I want to eat an entire cake. Anyway, where were we?
This is a good podcast.
It's the best I've ever. Yep. So anyway.
So
I interrupted.
Anyway, Ethan, I hope that answered your question.
What was the question again? Yugioh. Obviously, the answer to that is
whatever. Fuck you, Ethan. You dumb nerd.
Yeah,
it's like
idiot.
You fucking stupid asshole.
Yeah, if you were really smart,
fucking
you would have
buying your
invested in
cards.
fucking Magic the Gathering cards.
Buy a gun.
Fucking yeah, right. Yu-Gi-Oh, you fucking weeb.
Buy a gun and a water purifier, you fucking idiot.
God,
you fucking stupid
yeah,
piece
you know
of
what?
shit,
That's
Ethan.
you know what? To all you, anybody listening right now, fuck you. That's it. Just if you're listening, fuck you.
Our next question. Do we have more questions? What time are we at?
Fucking buy a gun.
Buy a gun. That's the fucking...
I'm giving way too many violent instructions to people. We're giving way too many violent instructions to people.
You know what? This is an alt-right podcast.
Yeah, you know what?
Let's fucking double down. We're fucking...
Hit a girl.
No! Oh, okay, now it's too far. That's
too far.
I wanted to be cool and edgy, and now I feel bad.
I told them to hold people hostage and make bombs.
Yeah, I told them. Yeah, look, we all told them to make bombs. We didn't tell them to use them specifically on women. Oh God!
Look, in the world to come, there will be no gender binary, and that'll be the best part of it. Because
it's gonna be a beautiful pansexual wonderland.
Your dad won't tell you what to wear anymore.
Yeah, because he'll be dead or a zombie.
Yeah, or he'll also be a crossdresser. You never know, because your dad won't be held back by the restraints of our current culture's standards.
Yeah, who knows what the brutality of the wasteland will awaken within your dad.
Your dad is gay. You're gonna learn.
You're gonna finally get to know your beautiful gay dad.
And it's gonna be a really wonderful thing. It's gonna be a really wonderful thing. But everybody's gonna be gay in the world to come. There will be no such thing as gay.
Yeah, I mean, because you're not going to be able to afford not to be, right?
Right. You got to take what you can get. That's what we're talking about.
And that is the fucking. If you're going to take one thing away from this podcast, it's that A, we're not alt-right, and B, take what you can get. You take what you can get. You use what you have.
Right. Exactly.
And if what you have is a penis, and what your friend has is a penis, and like that's not generally what you're into, just like fucking mash them together,
rub those penises
and
together,
see what it does for you.
It'll do something. It'll do something.
It'll do something.
It's we're all somewhere on the Kinsey scale. My friend.
It might not be what you want, but it'll be enough.
Right.
Our next question. Is there another question?
I don't
We're
know.
at 45 minutes.
Was there another question? And now a word from our sponsors. Stamps.com.
Fuck you, Stamps.com.
Fuck you, Stamps.com.
Fuck off, Stamps.com. You still owe Will $30.
Thank you.
Stamps.com owes Will $30. They fucked Will.
They fucked me.
That's our sponsorship segment. Fuck Stamps.com. We're going to do it every week until we either get a real sponsor or Stamps.com gives Will his $30.
Or a cease and desist. I'll take either one. I'm also just curious to see how they respond.
Alright, we did Yu-Gi-Oh cards. We did Finding Love in the Wasteland. We did Lexapro. We did Vegans.
Was that everything?
Bunkers. Well, we got about 10 minutes left, and I think we could probably milk this. There's just one question left.
What is that?
And it's why would God do this?
Is this the question?
That's the question. Is why would God do this?
I don't have an answer for that. Why would
God do this, Will?
Why would God do what? The event?
The event, or just this.
Why would you do
like, I mean, well, I think that's what I like about that question, is that it leaves a lot open for interpretation. It could be why is the event, but also, like, why hasn't the event happened yet? Why is God continuing to prolong our suffering? Why is God holding the event off from us?
Why do good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people?
Well, the thing that you have to understand about vampires
God did this because of you. Because of your nature. Because of the darkest corners of your psyche. Because of the things that we all hold deep down within our ids. Because of the evil that lies in wait for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm basically saying the same thing here, but I think the answer is that God didn't do this. We did.
Yeah.
We brought this on ourselves.
And it's our fault, and it's your fault.
And it's all our faults.
And a lot of people are going to die, and it's going to be because of us.
And you should hate yourself, and you should bring that energy into the new world, because I think it'll serve you better than self. I mean, look, we talked a lot about the importance of self-love in the world to come, but I think self-hate is also going to be important.
Hatred is a very powerful thing.
You're going to want to understand your limits. You're going to want to understand what behaviors led to the situation that you're in.
And you're not going to like it.
No. The hubris of man.
The folly of man.
The folly of man.
The Sigfield Follies.
The Sigfield Follies of man.
Why would God do this?
Why would God do this to us?
Why would God let us make this podcast? Somebody stop me.
He didn't. He's tried to stop us, but we're going ahead anyway.
Oh, God.
God can't stop us from doing this podcast.
Oh,
God can't stop us from getting this information out to the people.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Any last words?
Any last words?
Before we die?
Before we die. Before the event. But we're not going to die during the event. We're going to survive.
You and I are going to be fine.
We're going to be... Because we know what to do.
Right, and if anybody
and now
is listening...
so do you.
Right, exactly. Because you listened to this very informative podcast, now you know a little bit more about how to get by in the world to come. It's a pleasure, it's a thrill, and it's an honor to, have a platform that we could use to help educate people on best ways to get by in the world to come.
Yeah, and if you have any questions that you would like to ask us about how to survive after the apocalypse, you can send them to... Let me make sure that I know what the email is.
I love that
I
song.
don't fuck it up.
Woo!
Fuck. What's our email?
Is it Life in the World to Come?
I'm pretty sure it's lifeintheworldtocome@gmail.com.
Yes, it is.
Send us your questions. What else? Thank you to the taxpayers for their song We Are the Hellhounds, which I'm probably going to use as the intro to this podcast.
And if you don't, just keep that thank you in there.
Yeah, because they're a good band, and I like them, and you should listen to them. Go listen to the taxpayers. You're going to have a good time.
And are we gonna
kiss? What?
Yeah, of course. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna kiss. Mwah. And
we're gonna end every podcast with a chaste kiss on the lips.
Wow.
Oh my God! Is anybody gonna listen to this?
I really hope not.
Yeah. In conclusion, make a bomb.
Great. In conclusion, make a bomb. Don't resist the vampires. Your dad's gay. Lions have 4 arms and are very strong. Blood horniness is good. I don't know.
We made it.
Shoot ammonia into your
veins. Shoot ammonia into your veins. That one's important. You can do that now.
Yeah. Go.
Your homework for next week is to shoot ammonia into your veins.
If you die before the next episode, extra credit.
All right, we made it to 51 minutes. That's probably good.
I mean, there's no reason to stretch it out. We put all the information we should have put in there, and a lot of information we shouldn't have. So
yeah, you don't want to beat a dead horse.
Right.
That horse might have risen from the dead from the radiation.
In which case, you do want to beat it.
You don't want to beat that dead horse.
You beat the fuck.
Only beat a dead horse if it's coming for you.
Right. But if it is, beat it as hard as you can. Because that horse will be carnivorous. If the horse comes back to life, it will be carnivorous.
Anything that comes back to life is carnivorous.
Of course.
The meat requires meat.
Right. We could do a whole episode about the nature of the reanimated dead.
And I'm sure we will eventually.
Right. So tune in next week to.
Or we might talk about dead horses and how to beat them.
No guarantees.
All right. We did it. We made a podcast.